Hello, and welcome to another edition of Monogamy to Open. I'm Dr. Rhoda, and this week we've been talking about expanding upon what we talked about last week when we were talking about jealousy and insecurity, and expanding about how to manage the multiple emotions that we feel in our lives, and especially the emotions that affect us when we're making that transition to open relationships. And as we're all aware of, we feel emotions constantly in our daily lives. And this can be a challenge for us on how to understand the emotions we're feeling, how to manage them, how to understand the emotions other people that we're interacting are feeling, and how to help them manage the emotions that they're feeling. And this can be really challenging because most of us don't have much real education on how to deal with emotions. We learn about how to deal with emotions by the way our families dealt with emotions and the people around us. Some of which may have been good examples, and let's face it, others were not really good examples. And if your family of origin did not give you a good foundation on how to deal with emotions, it can be a struggle. And another part of that struggle is that our brains are really hardwired to give emotions the upper hand. Because we feel emotions constantly from all of the various messages that we receive in our brains throughout the day. And these signals enter the brain at the base of the spinal cord. Yet before they can travel to the frontal lobe, which is right behind your forehead, and this is the area where rational, logical thinking takes place. But before those messages can get to the frontal lobe, they have to pass through the limbic system of the brain. And this is the place where emotions are produced, which means you're always going to feel your emotions before the logic and the rational part of your brain has a chance to get engaged and kick in. And so clearly your emotions can sometimes get stuck there. And this is a problem for people. And when scientists have tested people about how accurately they are able to identify their own emotions, even as they're happening, only about a third of the people tested were able to accurately identify their own emotions. So that leaves 2/3 of the people in our world who often are way too stuck in the emotional part of their brain to be able to understand what they're feeling and how to react to them appropriately. So obviously you can see how this is a problem for people. And if you're dealing with this and things you've dealt with every day, imagine how much harder it is now that you are changing the relationship dynamic in your life and you're moving into dealing with things and situations that you've never dealt with. And emotions that may be even stronger than you felt with before, and you don't necessarily know how to deal with them. Because while our emotions come from 5 core feelings, and there are many different words to describe the intensity of these 5 core feelings. The 5 core feelings of happiness, sadness, anger, fear, and shame can feel very, very different in their intensity. Happiness can be comfortable and pleasant, or it can be overjoyed and elated. Like those are very different levels of intensity of really the same emotion. As well as like anger, you can feel just a little bit irritated, or you can feel enraged. And if you're not quite sure how to handle those different intensities of the same emotions, it can be very, very challenging for you in your relationships, whether it's your intimate relationships, your family relationships, or your work relationships. As well, there are other factors involved, such as people's IQ level and their personality traits, both of which are things that really don't change. Your IQ is set at a certain age in your childhood, and it doesn't, your ability to take in knowledge, to analyze it, that pretty much stays the same, even though you learn throughout your whole life. And personality traits, such as being introverted or extroverted, really don't change for people. However, your ability to learn to manage your emotions, or your EQ, your emotional intelligence, is something that you actually can change and improve upon throughout your life if you know what to look at and how to do it. And essentially, it breaks down into 4 skill areas of emotional intelligence. And that breaks down between the personal competence, which is your self-awareness and your self-management of your emotional skills. And then there's the social competence, which is the social awareness of what other people are feeling. And then the relationship management skills, which is being able to manage the emotions of not only yourself, but the other people you're around. And that really is a much higher level skill, so that you need to be adept at those skills of being aware of your own emotions, managing your own emotions, before you're ever going to be skilled at the relationship management of the interaction between yourself and other people. So as you can see, this can have a lot of things that are very important later on. And there are a number of different strategies for each of these different 4 categories that can be very helpful with your learning to do these different steps between the self-awareness, the self-management, and then moving on to the social awareness and the relationship management. And they really build on each other. So it's not like you can say, well, I have trouble with dealing with other people's emotions. I want to jump right to relationship management. Well, it's not that simple because you first have to learn how to be very skilled at identifying your own emotions, and especially those weird little emotions. I remember the first time when early on when my husband and I opened up a relationship, and I'm seeing him in front of me flirt and kiss another woman right in front of me. Now, I knew I wasn't feeling jealousy because I was quite confident he was not leaving me for this other woman. He wasn't replacing me with this other woman. I was very confident in my place in his life. But yet watching this was an experience I had never felt before. And it was a strange emotion I didn't really have a word for. And it's things like that when we make these transitions to different types of open relationships, we need to have a good, solid ability to manage our emotions so we know how to handle these very unique situations better, more skillfully than we would otherwise. So I do have an 11-page handout that I often give to people I work with, and I want to offer that to you. So if that's something you're interested in, if that's something you would like to have, I will put in the comments my email address so that you can email me, and I will email it to you. And like I said, it's 11 pages long, so it's a sizable document, but you start with the self-management techniques and those strategies, and you learn how to do that first. And then you work your way up to the relationship management so that you get much more skilled at that. So I will leave my email address. It's pretty simple. It's just rhoda@drrhoda.com. But I will put it in the comments so you have it spelled correctly. And just in the email subject line, just put that you want the EQ information sheet, so I know what to send you. And I will happily send that to you so that you have that information to start working on building those skills and giving yourself that help to make it better, because really it can be much better. So that's all I have for today. I'm looking forward to seeing you next week. Have a wonderful weekend, and I will see you then. Thanks so much for joining me. Bye.